All right, what's going on, guys? My name is Kyle, aka Boosted Woo, here with our 2011 335 LS3 swapped vehicle. So originally when I purchased this vehicle, it was equipped with the N55 motor. It's now sporting an LS3 from a Camaro SS. I bought it with about 31K miles on it. We put an LS into it because the motor blew after running the big boost kit for about 7,000 or 8,000 miles. Didn't really want to put another BMW engine in, so we went for the 6.2 liter V8 from Chevrolet. So the car originally was an automatic and an X-drive or all-wheel drive vehicle. It's now manual transmission and rear-wheel drive. So that was a major swap that we did. The entire front end, including the X-drive subframe, had to be swapped, along with pretty much all the components you could think of up front for suspension and steering. The LS3 right now, it's fully NA, no boost at this time. We did build it for boost. The rear end is the Seems Legit Garage 8.8 differential kit. And then the LS3 is a pretty good motor for boost if you ever want to do that. What we did in here is basically headers, cam intake, Texas speed cam, custom grind, CX racing headers, mid-length, and a custom intake, because when you do this kind of swap, like, you really can't use an existing intake on the market for like a Camaro or a Corvette, so you kind of have to modify your own. We also used the Mighty Mouse catch can kit, which is probably like the best catch can you can get on the market for the LS platform. The car does have AC. A lot of people ask this. This is the AC line right here. You can do the swap without keeping the AC, but I personally wanted it for obvious reasons. We got rid of the stock LS3 fuel rails and put Radium Engineering. I just like the black kind of theme. Looks a lot cleaner than the silver stock ones that came with it. MSD coils, which are pretty good coils for the LS as well. And then you can see the headers down there from CX Racing, which we've heat wrapped because this motor gets pretty warm. So depending what starter you put in this, I would recommend wrapping it in like a heat jacket. And the reason for that is the same reason like the headers are wrapped. Everything gets really warm, and the spark plugs are also wrapped, or the spark plug wires, sorry. But you're definitely gonna wanna wrap the starter with a heat jacket, or else you could potentially like kill it from so much heat. So that's something to watch out for. So really the only things that you retain from the BMW setup that you keep are the power steering pump and the coolant reservoir. You can use the existing BMW alternator, but I didn't like the look of it. You know, the car had 70K miles. It looked a little weathered. So I chose to use a new GM alternator, and it looks good. Just kind of keeps that darker black theme in there instead of kind of like the silver. So the motor, as I mentioned, is the LS3. You can find these in the Corvette Grand Sports. You can find them in Camaro SS's. This I bought from Hawks Motorsports in South Carolina. Like I said, I think it has like 31K miles on it. And it was a complete dropout assembly, meaning the motor and the transmission is what I purchased. So it's sporting the Tremec TR6060 6-speed transmission. So I bought it as a complete dropout assembly. And if you're thinking of doing the swap, like, you can certainly do that, or you can buy the motor and the trans separate. You could also use your existing BMW trans. There's many ways to go about doing it. So as you can see, like, the wire management in this swap is very clean. You really can't see a lot of the wires. We've got a lot of them hidden like up in the cowls. A lot of LS swaps you'll see like you can leave the wires exposed, but I wanted like the really clean look, so you really can't see many wires, which I think adds to like the beauty of this engine bay. Since it's NA right now, with headers, cam intake, it's pushing about 500. I haven't gotten it dynoed yet, but I'm going to. But based on like comparable mods and other setups, That's like what you can expect to make on this 6.2 V8. Yeah, so really like I said, the only things that you keep from the BMW setup is like the coolant reservoir, and the power steering pump and the alternator if you didn't swap it out. But for the most part, like everything else is swapped. And for engine management, we're using the Holley Terminator X Max. All of the BMW like factory features inside work, with the exception of cruise control. So, but besides that, like tachometer, all the cluster instruments, all that stuff works besides cruise control. Hopefully it will be more reliable than the previous BMW motor. That's another reason for the swap. That's the Tremec TR6060 transmission that came with this motor. As I said, this was a automatic vehicle at one point. So obviously it came with 2 pedals, right? So the way to swap that out is you have to take the brake out from your auto, and then you buy a clutch brake assembly from a manual BMW, and you put that in behind the firewall, and it's that simple. So the exhaust, a lot of people ask me, why did you use these tips? I personally really like them. It makes the car stand out. You're not gonna mistake this for like a regular 335. The exhaust is basically no resonators, no mufflers. From the engine bay, the CX Racing headers, into their 3-inch downpipes, and then into an X pipe, and then straight back. So it's like 3 inches all the way back. It's a fully custom exhaust. Like, we literally built the exhaust. Like, if you're gonna do the swap, chances are like exhausts on the market are not gonna work for you. So you're gonna have to like fab up your own most of the time. And it sounds amazing. It's probably one of my favorite parts about the swap so far. So as you can see, we have the Ford 8.8 rear differential in here. As I mentioned before, we got it from Seems Legit Garage. It's one of the best kits on the market if you're gonna put one of these in your BMW. Highly recommend it. It's a limited slip differential, and they basically like rebuild it with like carbon clutches and a bunch of other goodies. So definitely check them out for that. In terms of the fueling, there's a lot of ways to do the fueling, but what I did is you run a secondary pump with the radium setup on the driver's side. A lot of the guys who do like boosted applications in this will put like an external surge tank, and that's like in the trunk, external, so it's like literally mounted in your trunk. So the current fueling setup I have is good for like up to 600. So if I ever do go boosted, I probably would have to swap that out, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. So now, yeah, let's talk about kind of like the wheels and the tires. So I'm using obviously the Apex Arc 8s. I'm sure you guys know what they are. Did a wheel stud conversion kit. I think they look really good. Plus it makes the taking the wheels on and off super easy. These are the Toyo Proxy R1Rs. They're kind of similar to the R888s, kind of the same principle. Both good tires. I'm a big fan of Toyo. The car is also on STX coilovers. KW makes them. It's a good alternative if you don't want to spend like a ton of money. You know, they're reasonably priced KWs. So those are the coilovers that the car rides on. We've got Hawk or StopTech rotors. I forget, to be honest, because they've been on there for quite some time, on the previous setup as well. And then like the StopTech brake pads as well. For the carbon bits on here, this is the E92 Amuse Ericsson trunk, which we actually sell on our website. There's a CSL style as well. I was between the two, but I chose this one. It's a little bit more aggressive, but it adds a really nice touch to the car. I really like the carbon with the space gray metallic color. I think it really looks good together. And then there's forged carbon roundels. There's one on the front as well. I got those from Nelson Racing Wheel. If you're looking for like little carbon accents, they're one of the best websites or shops out there that you can look at. They make all their stuff in-house, like handmade. It takes a little bit longer, but it's definitely worth it. Nah. I used to have a meth tank in there, that's why I opened it. So this is an LCI E92, meaning 2011, early 2010 also had them. But like the LCI taillights, the LCI headlights, but we swapped those out. But most of the LS swaps that you see are pre-LCI. So I really like that fact. There's like one other LCI swap out there, so that's pretty cool. So these are the LCI M3 style mirror caps. We sell these on our website as well. This hood is from Seibon, and it's the M3 style hood from Seibon. If you're gonna get a carbon hood, I definitely recommend them. It's not worth it to like try to buy a cheap carbon hood or a cheap carbon trunk. Like typically when you do that, the stuff just does not fit right. So spend a little bit more and get yourself like a Seibon hood because it fits pretty well and it's really good material. I also had it PPF'd. The car is not PPF. The car is ceramic coated, and then the hood is PPF'd. We also put these arrow catch latches in. This is probably one of the worst installs you could ever do. You'll probably spend like 3 or 4 hours on each side because you have to be so exact before you cut. But you don't necessarily have to put hood latches in, but if you look at Seibon's note right here, it says, warning, off-road use only, hood pins required. So like to me, I'm gonna follow their advice. I see some people that they don't run the hood pins and that's fine, but I think they look pretty cool too. It gives more of like a race car vibe. This is the exact bumper that we sell on our website for the LCI E92 M Sport bumper. This car, when I first bought it, was actually completely a base model. I had the base rear bumper, I had the base front bumper, but these are both the bumpers that we sell. The fitment is perfect. The only reason I really started that business was because I had a lot of bad experiences buying car parts, and I don't think it should be that way. So I wanted to just connect like-minded enthusiasts with only like the highest quality parts out there. So if you're gonna buy a bumper from us, you can expect that it's gonna fit perfectly. Direct fitment, no modification, nothing like that. So the lip is also from us. This is the AK LCI style lip. Again, there's slight differences between like the pre-LCI and LCI, but depending what year you have on your car, you need to buy accordingly. You can also buy this on our website, but what you would have to do is you would send out your headlights, or you can find some, used headlights for your car online and then send them to us. But basically, they get fully rebuilt from the inside. You can do like a simple DTM halo build if you want, which is just kind of like the simple halo style, or you can do something a little bit more complex like this. So a big part of the swap I want to mention too is this company, LS-E9X. So if you're not using their mounts, your life is going to be very difficult. They sell a ton of stuff for the swap. These guys are really the ones who came up with the whole swap idea for this platform. So if you're thinking about doing this swap, you should absolutely check them out. There's a Facebook group, there's a YouTube channel. You can also go to their website. It's lse90.com. And you can also get there by going to n54misfirefix.com. That's an alias for the domain, so you can get there both ways. You actually can, I swear to God. It's so funny. So if you're planning on doing an LS swap to your BMW, first of all, I highly recommend it. It's probably 1,000 times more fun to drive than the previous setup. But if you're thinking about it or on the fence, check out LS-E90's YouTube channel for starters. Tons of great info there. And then there's a Facebook group as well. I think it's called Late Model E9X, E8X, LS Swap Tech. Go into that group. Do not post and say, hey, how much does it cost to LS swap a car? because people will tell you to use the search bar, which is a valid point. There's a ton of good threads in there. Just go in there. Chances are the questions that you have been asked. So search those questions. You'll see like tons of info about it. If you have questions, you can always reach out to LSE90 as well, that company. All right, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions or you want to follow the build progress, you can follow us on Instagram. It's at boosted_woo. We also have a YouTube channel, Boosted BMW Garage. And don't forget to check out LSE90.com for all your LS swap needs, and then our website as well, KC Test and Tune, for anything BMW or German car related, cosmetic or performance. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.